Hello everyone and welcome to the Mylio Photos Coffee Break. My name is Angela Andrew and I'm a product evangelist for Mylio, which means that I am here to help you be successful with the Mylio Photos application. I'm joined today by Lori Rubin. She's also a product evangelist for Mylio. She'll be helping out in the chat, making sure that all of your questions are answered and that we don't miss anything. She's also going to be sharing some helpful links along the way, so make sure you keep an eye out for those. And today we're going to be talking about how to export and share from Mylio Photos. So it's really important once you get all your pictures in, you're getting them organized. That can be a bit of work. The fun part is when you actually get to share them and make those connections or reconnect with people who are part of your library. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we jump into the topic, I do want to remind you that we have several live events that you guys are always welcome to jump into. We have our live Q&As that are every Tuesday and Thursday. Those are open to everybody, regardless of your skill level. Please feel free to jump in anytime and ask your questions. Anything from Mylio, photography, family history, all of that is fair game. If you're new to Mylio Photos, make sure you join Lori's program, Ready, Set, Go. She runs programs twice a day, so you have a morning and an afternoon option, Monday through Friday, and it gets you set up with all of the building blocks you need to be successful with Mylio. On Fridays, we have these coffee breaks, which are going to be a short tutorial followed by some open Q&A. So if you have questions, you're also in the right place. And then next week, we've got a special webinar coming up with our head of product, Rich Harrington. He's going to be talking about drowning in photos and how to kind of rein in all of your family photos. It's a great webinar. If you've attended it in the past, he usually does kind of a new version of it every time. So you'll probably pick up something new. If you've come to it before, though, it's up to you whether you want to attend again, but it's a great thing to come to and just see a different perspective on using Mylio Photos. Next week's coffee break, so next Friday, we're going to be talking about finding your photos inside of Mylio Photos and when to use search, filter, and find. So there's different tools inside of Mylio to help you locate something specific. I'm going to show you when to use each one. So that's what we're going to have covered today or next week. For today's session, what we're going to do is jump into Mylio Photos and talk about sharing and exporting images. If you have questions as we go along, please feel free to put them into the chat. You can also use the raise hand icon there at the bottom of the screen. We'll take questions at the end, and I'll do my best to get all of those answered for you. So let's jump into exporting and sharing with Mylio Photos. We're going to cover two basic areas here in sharing and exporting. We're going to look at the desktop experience and we're going to look at the mobile experience because they are a little bit different. So when you're sharing on desktop, you have a lot of different options. You have most of the same options on both desktop and mobile. It's just how you get there that's a bit different. So let's go ahead and jump into the application and take a look at what that looks like. So right now I have a picture pulled up of my grandparents. My grandfather was in the Marine Corps. They would often go to parties and be dressed up, and I love finding these pictures of them ready to go out to their parties, their balls, different events that they went to. And so I want to go ahead and share this. Now, there are many different ways that we can do this. I'm going to go ahead and click on the share icon here on the right, and this gives kind of an overview of what we have built into Mylio Photos to help make that happen. System Clipboard is like copying and pasting. So one of the things I could do really quickly with this image is simply do a Command or Control C on my keyboard to copy this, or right click on this and say Clipboard Copy. And that's going to go ahead and copy that to my System Clipboard. I can then go into any other application. So let me go ahead and jump back over here just into my presentation. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this. And just to show you how easy this is, I'm going to create a new slide, just a blank slide. And I'm going to go ahead and Command or Control V right in there, and it pastes that picture in there. So if you're working with documents or emails or a lot of even websites you can copy and paste into, this is super, super convenient. I love this functionality and I use it all the time. So let me go ahead and restart that presentation there. Let me get that back up on the screen and jump back over here into Mylio. If you want to have full control over how things are copied and pasted, that is what the option here, System Clipboard, is for. So if I click on that, I then get all of the options that Mylio has that lets me customize exactly what I'm copying and pasting. So I can say I want it to be a JPEG image. I can choose my resolution. Usually if you're sharing something online or in an email, large is pretty much as far as you want to go. If you go with original or something big, if you're doing an email, sometimes your email provider might say, hey, that file's too large. So kind of keep those things in mind. However, if you're sending something to, say, a print service and you're uploading it to Shutterfly or whatever print lab you want to use, you definitely want to go with original because you want it to have as many pixels as possible and get you the best quality print. So it just depends on what you need with which resolution you choose. So in this case, I'm going to choose large. Quality medium, let's go ahead and switch that to high. The higher you go on the quality, again, the bigger the file size is going to be. sRGB is a great color space for sharing. It's probably one of the most widely used. There are other options here if you do want to switch, but for most sharing that you're going to be doing, sRGB is adequate. We then have Safe Share, which you can turn on. What that does is it strips all of your metadata. That's excellent if you're sharing to a public forum. Let's say you're putting it up on Facebook, or maybe you want to share on Instagram. You don't want your face tags or other important personal information that you might have embedded in that photo. You want to strip that and remove that before you upload it somewhere. That's what Safe Share is great for. I'm going to actually turn that off and instead go here into my metadata, and I can choose what I want to be included. So typically for my work, I do my copyright, my IPTC. If I'm sharing something historical, let's say I'm wanting to share this to, maybe you're working on a genealogy website. You might want to include people and places. It's completely up to you what you choose to include as far as your metadata. You have full control over it right there. I'm going to then scroll down here, and again, depending on what you're doing, you may or may not want to add a watermark. You can add just a plain text watermark, or if you have a PNG image, which is an image that has built-in transparency, so you can see your really beautiful image and then it'll pop through underneath it what the original image is. You can use an image watermark as well. Now, when I'm working with family history images and pictures, especially that I didn't take, I'm not going to put my watermark on them because they're not mine. They're family photos. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that at none. And then I can say share to system clipboard. And again, all I need to do is go to another application or a web page, anything that'll accept a paste, and just Command or Control V, or go up to my my edit menu, and you can choose paste there as well, and be able to paste that into whatever place that I want that to go. So copy and paste and system clipboard are super, super helpful. Next I want to talk about is exporting things to a folder. So this is going to be kind of your traditional export where you create a new version of this image someplace on your computer. So if I go over here to that share and I go down to export, this brings up again that same dialog that lets me choose all of those same parameters. And when I click export, it's going to let me choose a location on my computer. Now, personally, when I create an export, it's usually a temporary file. My original quality files are stored on my vaults. This export is something for me to be able to upload it or hand it off to somebody else, and I'm creating a new version of that file that is not in my Mylio library. The original is still safe in your library. So what I've done that makes my life a little bit easier here is I have on my desktop, I've created a folder called exports. And I just typically will dump any picture that I export into this folder so I know exactly where it is. When I go to a website or someplace else where I need to upload it, I can easily grab it and put it where it needs to go. Now, the thing that I also know about this exports folder is this is a folder full of temporary files. So if I'm starting to run out of hard drive space, or maybe there just gets to be too much clutter inside of this folder, typically I can just delete anything in here. I know that these are exports, they are not my originals, and therefore they are temporary files that I've created. So this is something that I do. Mylio doesn't create this for you. This is just something in my own personal workflow that if that's helpful for you, you can go ahead and create. So if I went ahead and just click save here, that would put this file inside of this exports folder, and I'd have a new version there that I could then send anywhere. And this works also if you want to create, let's say you want to do a thumb drive of a bunch of images for your family member. Let me go ahead and cancel out of this here for a moment, and I'm going to go ahead and back out of this. And let's say I wanted to grab all of these family photos and I wanted to save them to a thumb drive for a family member. And I want to create a high quality image that they can take and then plug into their computer, and they can do whatever they want with. They can put them into their Mylio, they can put them into Google Photos, whatever they want to do with them, completely up to them. What I would do in this instance, again, I could just go over here to the share, or again, I could right click and I can choose export. And if I'm doing a thumb drive with a bunch of original quality images that I want them to have their own version of, what I would do is, again, I would make sure this is a JPEG. In resolution, I would do original. Under quality, I would do maximum. sRGB is fine. Safe share is off. Under metadata, if I'm sharing this with another family member, I want them to have all of the information that I've added. So I would go through and I would turn all of these fields on. And that way, if there's anything that applies here, they're going to get that information as well. We're going to go down here and we're going to say if there's something already in that file that has that same name, we're going to use a unique name. And you can even custom name those files. So I have my own custom naming set up here. You can go ahead and click on this and choose how you want those files named. And then you would go ahead and click export. Now, if you have a separate thumb drive that you're saving these to for a family member, what you would do is go down to your locations, choose that drive, and then go ahead and save those files to that location. You wouldn't use your temporary exports. You would go ahead and just put them directly onto that thumb drive that your family member gave you for those files. And so it's a great way to share a bunch of images at their fullest quality with friends and family. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of that for the moment. And let's jump back over here to the presentation and see what's next. Emailing. Emailing is a fun and effective way to send things to friends and family. So let's say I wanted to grab this picture here and send an email. Now, if you on a Mac, I use Apple Mail, which is the default email client here on a Mac. There are a lot of other programs that you might use. Mylio, if you select the email option here, so if you go over here to export and choose email, it's going to go to the default web client, which is Apple Mail. If you're on Windows, that's going to go to Outlook. If you don't use those other programs, that's where copy and paste is going to be your best friend, because all you then have to do is copy and paste. But if you're using Apple Mail or you're using Outlook on Windows, you can just go here and click email. That's going to go ahead and give you those same options. You say create email, and it's going to go ahead and open up a new email with that picture already embedded. And you can go ahead and fix that up, send it to whoever you want. Again, if you have a webmail that you use, let's say you use Gmail or Proton Mail or something that you log in through a web browser, again, copy and paste is going to be your friend. All right, let's see what else we've got here. So we have a lot of different integrations built into Mylio Photos that you can export directly to. Flickr, Viewbug, Frame.io, and Family Search. So let's go ahead and take a look at those really quick. I'm going to jump back over here to Mylio, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the share here, and you'll see here's Flickr. If I go ahead and click on that, I already logged in earlier today, so all I have to do is add in my description, where I want that to go, and a few other options, and I can say post. That'll post that directly to Flickr. If I want to go directly to Viewbug, very similar. Hopefully it's going to let me still log in because I logged in earlier. So there we go, perfect. And you have a few other options here that you can add. So you can go ahead and make those selections and then post. Very, very simple. And like I mentioned, I logged into these services earlier, so I wouldn't have to be pulling up passwords and messing with that right now. That's the first step. When you first click on those, it'll pop up and ask you for you to log into those services with your credentials, and then you're going to allow Mylio access. Once that's done, usually on a daily basis, you're going to have to probably re-log in every day for most of these services because they require it of us. But it's pretty easy, and you can just go ahead and share directly. If you're a Frame.io user, you can publish images to Frame. So I can go ahead and open that, and it's going to let me choose what folder on Frame that I want to use. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. And then we have Family Search. You'll notice when I click on this, Family Search isn't in this list. So the way that you get to that, if I wanted to post this image to my Family Search account, what I would do here is open up the info panel. If you're not seeing it, click that I here on the side. And right now I'm viewing my info panel in the traditional regular format, not the family history format. So what I want to do is go up here to the More menu, go to Family History and toggle that on, and that gives me some different options here in the info panel. And the top here is Post Memories to Family Search. I can go ahead and click that. That's going to be, again, I already logged in, so it's giving me the option to just go ahead and post that up to Family Search. And because I already have my Family Search ID embedded, for both of these people in my library, it's going to get attached automatically to both of those people on Family Search, which is really, really cool. So I could then just go ahead and click post, and that would get sent up to my Family Search account. So that's a good overview of the different platforms. The next thing I want to share with you is shared albums and shareable links. These are a lot of fun and probably one of the easiest ways that we have in Mylio to share a group of pictures with people. So what I'm going to do is go back over here to my Mylio and go into the albums view here. And let me go ahead and just find a group of images. So I'm going to go here into travel and my vacation pictures from my trip to Mammoth back in 2022. Let's say I want to create a shareable link for this. Looks like I already did, and it gives me the option here to stop sharing because it's already shared, or republish. So your published options are going to be over here on the right. Let me find one that I haven't published before. Go ahead and go back here. Looks like I've published many of these. All right, let's see here. All right, so my Valentine's Day slideshow with my husband. Let's say I wanted to create a shared album out of this. I would see over here on the right under shared album, the option to publish shared album. I just click that, agree to the terms of service and the right to publish, and you can read those articles if you're interested, and then click continue. It then gives you the option of how you want to format your shareable album. You can turn safe share on. You can have a watermark on those images if you like. You can give whoever views it the option to download the optimized versions of those images. Keep in mind that this is optimized, not original quality images. And then you can choose a theme, so the design. Once you're done, you can go ahead and click share, and that's going to create that shareable link. I don't want to share that one right now. Let me go ahead and go back to one that I've already shared. Let's go back in here to travel. And I'm going to go ahead and just click on the link that this already created. And that's going to open up my browser. And here are all these pictures in a beautiful web gallery that I can then take that link and share via text message. I can put it into an email. I could even post it on social media if I wanted to. These links are what we consider semi-private, meaning they are not going to be indexed by search engines. So they are really as out there as you make them. If you only share them with a couple of people and those links stay with those people, that's pretty private. If you go ahead and broadcast the link out on social media, that's a fairly public use. So it's really up to you how you want to use them. And then keep in mind that once you're in here, you can go ahead and click on these images, see them larger. You can see the metadata about them if you've included that and so forth. It's really an excellent way to share a curated group of images. Now, you don't have to actually create an album ahead of time to do this. That's where the shareable links come in. So let me go ahead and close out of this here, and I'm going to go back and let's go here into my library. I'm going to go to the top, and let's say I want to just grab a few cat pictures here. Cute cats doing cute things, and I want to create a link that shares these images just on the fly. With this, I can go over here to the right, click on that share icon, and say get shareable link. It's going to ask me to name that album, so we can just call that Cats and continue. Again, agree to those terms of service and continue. Choose your theme and everything else and share, and that's going to go ahead and create a quick shared album with those images. So you can select anything in your library and very quickly and easily share those. So there's our link. I can go ahead and click that, and there's my new album. I can go ahead and click on that, and I can see the web view, the larger of my cats. So that's kind of fun. And just like I said, a great way to get your pictures out there with friends and family. All right, let's see what else we wanted to cover here. With the export menu, you have the option to export an album as a slideshow video. That's pretty cool. So over here you can see on the right, export as video. So if you've created an album and you want to turn it into a slideshow and then export that as a video file, you could then upload that video file to social media. You could put it on YouTube, wherever you want that to go. That's a really fun option. You can print. If you want to print images, you can go ahead and do, I believe, up to an 8x10 of an image here. So if you have your home printer, go ahead and check out that print option. If you have a big printer and you want to print bigger sizes, what I would recommend is printing them through whatever your printer software is. So a lot of printers will come with their own standalone software you can use for printing. Photoshop's also a good one to print from, but there's a lot of different ways you can do that and get more advanced print settings if you have a big printer. But for most people with a home printer, this option is perfectly adequate, and you can go in there and just print your images and you're off and running. If you're on a Mac, you also have the option here with AirDrop and Messages to send those images directly. So if you're on a Mac, here's your Messages, and you also have AirDrop right here. So those are a couple of Mac-only features that are really fun. And again, quick and easy ways to get your images out there. So before we jump into looking at some of these options on mobile and how they're a little bit different, there's a lot of this, the same stuff, but in slightly different places. Let me take a look here at the chat. Looks like Lori's been sharing a lot of great links. Fantastic. I don't see any questions yet, and I don't see any hands up. So let's go ahead and carry on to the next slide here, which is sharing on mobile. Now, the one thing that's different here with sharing on mobile is you have to configure exactly the kind of picture you want to share before you actually go share. So it's an extra step that you have to go into the settings and figure out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to open up my phone, and we're going to take a look at this together. So give me just a second to get this pulled up, and cross my fingers that my screen sharing works here. One moment. And there we go. Okay. Perfect. So hopefully you guys can all see my iPhone screen here. It's overlaid on top of my my regular Mylio screen. But down here at the bottom, you'll see that same share icon. If I click that, that gives us a lot of those same options. The thing to know is that you have to configure the size and the type of file you want to send ahead of time. So I'm going to click out of that and instead go up here to the More menu, and then go ahead and scroll down to Settings, and then choose Export and Sharing. And this is going to let me choose what kind of file I want to send. Now, when you send something on a phone, you have a lot of different options here. So I can say Unmodified Original, which is awesome if I want to send this picture to, let's say, an editing app like Snapseed. That's one of my favorite quick and easy editing applications. It also happens to be free. So you can go ahead and choose Unmodified Original and send that to another editing app. If you want to share an edited picture or a picture that's just ready to send, go ahead and choose JPEG. And there you see all of those same options we were talking about on the computer. In this instance, because I have that family picture that I want to share, I'm going to go ahead and turn my watermark off. Everything else here I think looks okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just X out of those settings. And now I'm back to my picture. Now I can go ahead and click that share button. And this gives me those same options. So I can do the shareable link. So I can make that semi-private web link if that's what I want to do. You can do that from your phone. You can do it from your tablet and from your computer. Here I can post directly to Family Search, which is really quick and easy. I can post it to Frame, and I can post it to ViewBug. For other options, go ahead and click that share button at the top, and that brings up what we call the share sheet. And you can see here at the top, I can text message to any of my usual contacts. I can AirDrop it really quickly to my computer. And then I have other applications here that I can send these pictures to. So you have lots of options. And then down here, you have things like print, open in, and copy. Copy here is the same as copy and paste on the computer. So if you want to copy something and then paste it somewhere else, you can do that right here as well. So lots of great options. If you're wanting to do some editing, choose that open in, and then that's going to go ahead and pull up that list here. And let's say we want to go ahead and say more, and I want to open this into, let's see here, let's say Photoshop Express. And that's going to go ahead and let me import that into Photoshop Express, and I can go ahead and do my editing that way. So when you're on the phone, you have all of the same options. They're just in slightly different places, but you still have tons of flexibility. Now, if you're going and you're trying to send that unmodified original file, let's say you want to do that editing, Mylio might say, hey, I don't have this file locally. Do you want to download it? If you have Mylio Drive Plus that is storing your originals, or you have your computer on with a vault attached, Mylio is just going to go grab that image and be able to pull that from your other devices, which is really, really cool. It downloads it temporarily. It allows you to edit it, and then you can go ahead and carry on, which is absolutely fantastic. So let me go ahead and turn off my screen mirroring. And I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about with sharing and exporting. Hopefully you guys picked up a couple of new little tips and tricks in there. Lots of information, really fun thing to do. I highly recommend, once you're getting things organized, if you find something that you think would connect with somebody who you care about, send it to them. It's a great way to preserve those family relationships, those friendships, and to get those pictures out there, because we want to be able to enjoy them, not just have them stuffed away on our hard drives.